Hello and welcome. I am Exit Light and this is my channel. Today we're going to talk about the origins of Halloween and why we celebrate it. We have celebrated All Hallows Eve every year on October 31st for centuries, but do you know why? Halloween, which literally means holy evening, dates back to the pagan times and is thought to originate with the Celtic pagan festival of Samhain. Samhain was a celebration of the end of the harvest season, meaning summer's end. Celts in this period are thought to have believed that this time of year was also when the walls between the worlds were thin and porous, and enabled spirits to pass through. The Celts also feared the return of these spirits through this thin wall between the worlds because they thought that it might damage their crops for the next season. As a result, to appease any spirits that would creep through, they would set up a place at their dinner table and offer the spirits food and drink. That also began the tradition of dressing like demons and spirits, because they thought if you happened to run across a demon, he might not recognize that you were a human. Bonfires would also be lit to scare off evil spirits. However, is it possible that Halloween is also a Christian tradition? Well, this is interesting. Halloween also marks the day before the Feast of All Saints' Day, also known as All Souls' Day, and All Hallows. It is a day that dates back to the 8th century and was designed to stamp out pagan traditions and convert people to Christianity. On this day, Christians would honor the saints and pray for the spirits who hadn't reached heaven yet, so that people could still dress up. They would have people dress up as saints and angels, and maybe still a few demons. So when did trick-or-treating start? Well, trick-or-treating started in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and it involved people dressing up in costumes and knocking on doors asking for food. The groups would offer up poems and songs in exchange for the food. As for their trick-or-treating, or guising, which comes from the word disguising, that tradition began in the Middle Ages. Children, and sometimes poor adults, would dress up in the aforementioned costumes and go around door to door during Hallowmas, begging for food or money in exchange for songs and prayers, often said on behalf of the dead. This was called souling, and the children were called soulers. Sometimes they would be rewarded with soul cakes. These cakes were sweet, with a cross on top, and they were intended to represent a spirit being freed from purgatory when eaten. By the 19th century, this had evolved into a tradition where children would sing songs, tell jokes, and read poems instead of prayers for pieces of fruit or money. Later, the children would play threatening pranks on people to get them to hand over their sweets, which I'm pretty sure would not have worked if you'd come to my house. The name trick or treat was first used in America in 1929 after immigrants took traditions surrounding the day overseas. So, why do we carve pumpkins? Well, this goes back to the Samhain festival when people would decorate their homes to ward off bad spirits. They used to carve turnips, and over time this evolved into carving pumpkins. It is believed that it evolved because when the Irish immigrants were in America, they could only find pumpkins to carve. The pumpkin carving tradition took off properly in the 1920s. The term jack-o'-lantern is believed to have come from the folklore story of Stingy Jack, who tricked the devil into buying him a drink. Because of this, when he died, he wasn't allowed to enter heaven or hell, but was instead trapped by the devil as a burning ember, which was kept inside of a turnip. I say Halloween is good for dressing up as anything in the world that you want to be for one day, or a simple suit and a mask, or a dress and a wig and some makeup, and being absolutely, mysteriously nobody.